cannot change the seasons or the circumstances. So you can't change the wind, but what you can do is you can change how you react to the wind. So we can only look at our own responses to the situation that we're in, and those responses are going to affect our outcome. So there is an equation that I use quite a lot, which is E plus R equals O. So event plus response or reaction equals the outcome. And the outcome is not just guaranteed by wherever the wind is blowing. The outcome is down to us and how we have reacted to the wind. So if you take a sailboat, or in this case a windsurfer, they love it when the wind's up, because they can then get out there and play, but they have an idea of where they're going, and they respond to what the wind is doing with their actions, and that gets them to go where they would like to go. So we have to, thank you. We have to acknowledge that sometimes that we do have to go through a lot of emotions when change is in the air or in the environment. And some people will go through these a lot quicker than others. It really comes from our understanding of the grief process and how we move through our emotions. Some people will go through this very, very quickly. If you are in a change mindset already, then perhaps when you reacted to the COVID-19 crisis very quickly, because you're already in a change mindset, so you're already thinking about change. Others of us who were not quite as quick to respond to what was happening, maybe we weren't in that change mindsets quite so early. So we've maybe gone through this a bit quicker is in our own practice. Rupert was very quickly going through some of these. He got to acceptance and problem solving very quickly, whereas I took a lot longer to get through the whole sort of, oh my God, what is happening? And then, oh no, it can't be happening. Why? And then, really angry. Why is this happening now? I can't get on with anything. Real frustration about what was happening. A little bit of depression on what, where am I? Really sad this is happening at the moment. I can't see through it. And eventually I worked through that to get to an acceptance point, and then I could get out and start problem solving. But you can't actually move on until you've gone through those sort of more negative reactions. And as I say, everybody's journey is going to be different. So some people will go through them very quickly. Others will take a little bit of time to get through them. And it may also, we may end up revolving round at the bottom of that depression a little bit. We think we've accepted it, and then it rolls back into anger. So we may have a little bit of a whirlwind at the bottom of that depression slide. But once we've accepted that this is all part of it, we can then move on and work out how we're going to change, how we're going to move forward, and what problems we're going to do to solve. So within Action Coach, we have what we like to call the point of power, and it's a really very useful slide for us, because it does show how we are going to respond to something, and it shows how powerful that response can be, because we all know people who have made blame everybody else, whose excuses for everything. And at the moment, there is this huge thing called the COVID crisis, which is great for putting blame and excuses on. We can really blame, oh, the current situation means I can't do this, or you've got the excuses, oh, I can't do this because I can't get out of my house. And then even worse are those business owners who are actually sitting there in complete denial. Oh, yeah, it's business as usual. We'll go back to work and everything will be fine. Because what they've done is they've just said, I have no power in this situation, so there's nothing I can do. They will drop very quickly into victim mentality. It's all about why me, why now. So they are powerless because they themselves have ceded control to something else. And on the other side, we have people who have got that winning mentality, who are instantly into how do I do this. And they are talking very much about taking responsibility for things, and they are accepting that they are able to respond to something, and therefore it is up to them how they're going to respond and use that ability. They are also accountable to something, and for me, responsible and accountable are very, very similar, but accountable also has the words account in it, and those words, the word account, so you're able to account for things, so you are able to test and measure, you are able to look at things in a very objective way, you're able to look at the numbers, so it's very much being able to work out where you are in this situation. And ownership is to take control and to take ownership of what you're doing. So at this point, we really, really are in charge of our own ship. It's ours, we know where we're going with it. The sumo guy, Paul McGee, has this great analogy of a victim t-shirt, and he says he's got a great chapter in his book called Time to Change the T-shirt or something like that, and he calls it taking off the t-shirt, the victim t-shirt, and becoming accountable to what you want to do. And it is very clear that a lot of businesses will not survive this crisis because their owners stayed in bed. So they stayed in that powerless situation. So when we're looking at change, there are 4 elements that need to be within, can we have the next slide please, Ruth? There are 4 elements that we need when we're looking at change, and being able to identify what these elements are will enable us to look at, if we're feeling stuck, to look at how we are going to move forward, and what element is it that's that needs to be increased or focused on so that we can change the way we want to change. So we have D times V plus F is greater than R. Dissatisfaction times the vision plus the first steps has got to be greater than the resistance to change. At the moment, I think resistance to change is quite low because we are all in that change mindset. We are all faced with change and we have accepted it. So our resistance to change is actually quite low at the moment. We know that change has to happen. We just maybe don't know how. Our dissatisfaction is also quite high at the moment. What this will be is that we don't actually like where we are, or we don't like where we were, or we don't want to go back to what we were doing. So in some ways, most of us don't like, I mean, I really don't like being stuck in the house 24/7 with my 1 hour a day exercise. I don't like that, but I've accepted that I have to do that for current things. There are other things that I don't like about where we are, so I want to change. Other people who are maybe in a restaurant, who had a restaurant, they don't like the fact that, again, that they've shut. They don't like the fact that they've got their money coming in, and so they have got very high dissatisfaction, and they are thinking, well, how do I change this situation that I'm in? But you have to have that vision, and that vision is very, very important. Where do I want to go? What do I want to be? How do I want to be? And what do I need to become to be that? So what vision have I got of how I'm going to get out of this? And we have been speaking to quite a lot of business owners over the last couple of weeks, and some of them are seeing this as a perfect opportunity to pivot their business to where they want to be, where they have wanted to be for a while but haven't had they haven't felt motivated enough to get there. Well, this has given them the perfect chance to change their whole business model to something else. So they've got a very, very clear vision now of where they want to go. But because their dissatisfaction had been very low before, they hadn't really moved in that direction. Whereas now that their dissatisfaction is high and they've got this clear vision, they can really move forward. And the last piece is those first steps. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So it's very, very important that we always work out what our first step is. Once we've got our first step, the second step is often very easy. And then the third step is even easier because you can see where we're going. And it's these steps that we're going to be looking at later on when Rupert takes over and starts getting into the nitty-gritty of the planning, because we really need to work those out. The first step has to be quite small in order for if the resistance is fairly large, then the first step has to be quite small. If the resistance is very low, then we can get away with a bigger first step. But we really need to work out what that first step is. And that first step could be as simple as I'm making the decision to change. It could be as simple as I'm going to call somebody. I'm going to ask for help. It can be a very small first step, or it could be a big first step, like I'm going to get a new website facility. So whatever your first step is very important that we work out that. And once we've accepted the whole of this mindset of our change, and we work out why we're changing and what we're changing to, we can actually get then into the practicalities of how we're changing. And in a moment, Kerry is going to share with you the how we are looking at the whole crisis at the moment and the various places that you are looking at. But do keep in mind that for all of this, as long as you've got your mindset in the right place, the next steps will be easy. So Kerry, over to you.
Ooh, hang on a second, we seem to have lost Kerry.
Oh no, did I just say all that on mute?
Yep, gonna have to do it again.
Oh gosh, sorry guys. Right, so I'm going to talk to you today about the different stages that our businesses are going to go through over the next few months. These stages are a tool to help us to put everything in context. So that's to understand the different phases we're going to experience on this journey. As we identify where we currently are and exactly where we need to be for each stage, we're going to get clarity and ownership of our situation. So Angela's been talking about the mindsets that we need in order to go forward as business owners. So we're going to be taking control and steering our business in this direction, and we can see which direction we want it to go through. One thing we do know that right now, one thing we don't know right now, and that's also the government don't know, is when the lockdown is going to come out. You know, even the health officials right now, they don't know either. So we can't, you know, it makes it difficult to plan. So the way we're getting around this is that we're not putting dates on. So here you can see from now right till the end of the situation we're in, and we're split into different distinctive phases. So the reason there's no dates is because we don't know when these stages are actually going to happen, but we do know that we're going to have to go through all of them. So once we accept these stages, we can start to plan, and we can look at how we're going to survive both right now and also then thrive as we hit the ground running once the lockdown gets lifted. So you'll see the terminology here, and it is intentionally sports related because we're planning for the performance of our business, and that's the same as we would do with any kind of serious sporting event. So the graphic is split. You can see it's split with a label at the top and a label at the bottom. So we've got business and personal. And people would think that what we're going to do is just plan the business, but we also know that looking after yourself has never been so important. So it's essential we do that. You know, it's the same thing that we've been talking about for weeks, and it's basically we're being the cabin crew telling you to make sure you put your own oxygen mask on before you help other people. Along the bottom, you'll see the phases for communication. So again, we've been talking about this for a long time. It's very normal for us to assume people think like us and they have similar experiences to us and understand things in the same way we do. And we know now through theory and education that this is only a perception, and we as leaders, we need to be checking in with all of our team members and our customers and so on, and making sure that there's a good, clear communication with everyone. So communication absolutely essential right now. Okay, so back to the phases we've got. So you can see the 5 different phases. I'd like you to have a look and type in the chat box, what number do you think you're in right now? And Rupert, could you be in charge of the chat box, please?
Already am. I'm here.
On it.
So we've got phase 1, 3 and 4. That's good. That's very good. 1 and a 2. Okay.
All right then. So I'm going to go through the phases, and we'll have a look at our interpretation of what those phases are. So we're starting with the lockdown stage, and looking at how this relates to us personally. So we've all been through this stage, and unfortunately some people are still here as they're still adjusting. So I'm hoping by now that you've got yourself into a routine and that you're already looking after everyone's welfare, including your own. So you're making sure you exercise, you're hydrating, you're eating healthy, you're getting time to think, reflect, and so on. Making sure your mindset is in the right place and it's helping you and not causing you problems. So what we do know is in this situation is that people have got their mindset right. That, you know, the mindset is going to be the biggest decider of who wins and who doesn't in this situation. So, you know, each of us are in a different situation with different cogs turning, and we're experiencing things in a very different way. So we don't expect everyone to be at the same phase all at the same time. So if you are having problems getting through this first phase, it's okay. Just come and talk to us and we'll help you. We'll help you talk through and look at ways to move yourself forward. If we look at the business side, then we're looking at, you know, we've made sure we've got teams working remotely already, and we're learning to manage them in a different way. Rupert and I did a webinar last week on this topic, and we can send you the link to that if you want to have a look at it. Likewise, Angela has done webinars on cash flow forecast. Again, this is something that everyone should have already got done, and you should know already where your hotspots are going to be coming in. If you were going to mothball your business, that should have been done by now, and also started getting your pivoting ideas on the way. So government assistance now, people have a better idea of what's going on and where they can apply and where they can't. I'm not sure if everyone knows, but the furlough rules were changed, I think, yesterday to make it so it actually covers more people. So there's constant changing of the rules. It's really important you're still keeping up to date with that. Okay, so we're expecting to find some business owners still stuck in paralysis, okay, or even a kind of spiral that are just going round and round in circles, overwhelmed and not knowing how to get out of this situation. And again, that's why we're here and we're offering the help that we are. Okay, so if we move on to stage 2 now, we've sorted the fundamentals and we're starting to focus on other things. We're not necessarily used to working in this strange world, but it's no longer new, so we're understanding it better. Now's the time for you to do a skills audit. And this is in the personal section, not the business section. And the reason for that, because right now it's all about you. So what are you good at? What are you bad at? What do you need to be better at? So who do you actually need to become to be the person who can get done what needs to be done? Okay, that's a really powerful thing right there. You know, we've got all this free online learning we can take advantage of. There's lots of people doing webinars, but even before this situation, there's free online courses provided by universities. There's all kinds of things that you can learn. Basically, everything you ever need to know is free online. It's just about organizing yourself to tap into that education. Also, as you may know, the 3 of us are offering free coaching sessions right now. It's not something we normally do, but during this COVID situation, a lot of people need help, and we're very happy to be here to help people. So take us up on those. That's what we're here for. And make sure you're using your time effectively. Are you focused on what needs to be done as opposed to what you can't do? You know, if lockdown ended tomorrow, would you be ready for the next phase? This is a great opportunity to use your time well. So if we talk about from the business side of things, it's time to get your thinking caps on, okay? Do you know what you want your business to look like when you come out of lockdown? What changes are you going to need to make to get you to that point? Have you communicated all of these changes to your team? Is there something that everyone can do to support these goals? Then it takes us on to look at the demand for your products or service. Is it still going? Is it still there? Is it still going to be there at the end of all this? How can you adapt your unique selling point? So has that changed? Do you have a new environment and a new channel to market it to now? So there's lots and lots of questions in this section that we need to be starting to warm our brains up and start to think about planning for. So how can you diversify your current skills to make them relevant in a new environment? If your business is not relevant, it won't work in a few weeks' time. So there's so much that can be done right now. It's really important we don't get overwhelmed by this. Easier said than done. We just need to break it down and plan it section by section. And also, marketing has never been so important right now. Anyone who currently can't trade because of the situation needs to be really focusing on their marketing plan. This is a great time for big picture thinking and strategy, and get a great opportunity to drip feed your messages out there. You have time to get this done, and really make sure people know you're still here and that they know what your plans are when things change. Okay, so now we've gone through that in a bit more detail. Can you just type in the chat box if you think you're in either of these phases, and if you are you in number 1 or are you in number 2? So we've got a two.
And that's very reassuring as well, isn't it, Kerry? Because that's where we'd expect people to be moving to at this stage in the
moving to, yeah. We don't expect everyone to be there, but yeah. So yeah, we're getting there slowly. Okay, and Simon's on it, being coached. Okay, so if we look at the looking at the next phase, then we're going into the warm-up stage. So phase 2 is all about making the plans, and phase 3 is about executing these plans and predicting how the new normal is going to be when we get out of this. So in sports, there's a saying that goes, a race is won by what you tell yourself on the start line. So it's essential you know exactly what's going on, what you've planned to do, so that you can make sure you're getting your head in the right place and you're ready. So now we're getting ready and preparing for stage 4. Okay, so default diary is one of the tools we use to get us ready and organised. Rupert's going to discuss this a bit later on when we go into the planning. So do you have your right mindset at the moment? Do you relate to the things that Angela's talking about? Have you got that covered? Or do you need to be focusing more on that? Do you feel that you can cope with this? Are you prepared for changes? So it's crucial that you're ready and able to run as soon as you have to go ahead. If you don't feel ready, it's okay as long as you acknowledge it. Constantly being told by people and social media, oh, be positive, that's not going to do it. We're here and we're offering free sessions for people so we can really work on your mindset. So get in touch with us and we can go through that and really support you in that. We've also got personal care in here again, because the first thing we forget in stressful times is ourselves. And making sure we plan for it is making sure we've considered how this is going to affect us going forward. And looking after ourselves is never going to be more important. So in relation to the business side of this section, we need to be thinking about how we're going to transition our staff back into the new normal that we're going to get. What are the implications going to be here? Is more training needed? Do we need to recruit? Do we need to be making sure that people know what their jobs are and how their job's going to go, what they're going to have to do, and how they're going to play the part in getting you to where you want to go? Also, this is a great time to be unleashing that marketing campaign that you've been planning. Your marketing is going to have to change. Your plans are diversifying, so everything's changing. The market's going to have changed. Some of your competitors will have gone, some will have merged, some have been bought out. So make sure you've got a plan as to how you're going to pick up any of those customers and any other opportunities that come your way. So this is the best bit. It's a short, sharp, hard work. This is section 4, which is the sprint phase. So, in the past, the speed of the financial crisis that hit us has predicted the speed that we'll recover. So if it's come fast, we've recovered fast. If it's come slow, we've recovered slow. So this has sprung on us extremely fast, faster than any other economic downturn we've had. So we know that we're going to have to hit the ground running and get much faster to start back. So there's no more in this phase. This is really high focused, no time to get any more planning done. This is the time that we're just going to run. The race is on. You're going to need absolute clarity, absolute focus to get through this. Your energy is going to need to be high. We're here and we're looking at a short, sharp burst of energy. Okay, there's going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of scrambling going on to get started. This is not a marathon, it's a sprint, and you're going to need your mindset ready to commit to your goals and get there before your competitors. Your business is going to have to make up for lost time, and it's going to be a fight to gain market share. But the great news is that the business owners who planned and prepared are going to have done all the training, they're going to have done the practice and done the warm-up, and they're ready. They're going to be ready for this sprint. Also, your staff are in the same position because they've been working hard getting ready for this. So you just need to make sure you've got your leadership plan prepared and it's ready and spot on. Okay, as soon as the lockdown is lifted, people are going to be ready to spend money. We've got plans being made, people are going to be out there, and we need to make sure that people who are looking for your service are looking at you. So this phase is all about maximum energy for a short time. So we've got to be in the zone and really focused here. So moving on to phase 5. This is when things are going to start to settle down and we're going to get used to what our new normal is going to be. They're going to be new ways of working, and our markets are going to be very different to those that we came out of in March, at the beginning of March. So after you've finished your sprint, you're going to be able to balance your work and life and have more consistency. You're going to have a chance to breathe and have fun and enjoy your success. So, we've gone through all those phases, and the sprint was exhausting. So we need to make sure we plan for that and we're ready in this section to then be moving on. So we're going to be getting back to our new normal, and we're going to be able to use our new ways of working, our mindset, to make sure the business is doing the work for us and not the other way around. Our new normal is going to be more efficient. Much more business will have moved online, including many of the shop fronts will now become showrooms with purchases being online. Leadership is going to be more thought out due to our experiences of doing things online. Communications between team members and suppliers will all, things are going to be changed considerably due to all the planning and things that we put in place. So at Action Coach, we work with business owners to plan how they can get their business to work for them. The business must give them the life that they want, often the life that they were looking for when they first went into business. So during this phase now, business owners will be getting back to the work that we do with coaches, and that's designing and building the future of their businesses. Businesses will be running more efficiently with production, marketing, sales, delivery, supplies, recruitment. All of these things now will be working on continuous improvement and making sure there's stringent standalone systems and processes in place. Okay, businesses will come out of this stronger and leaner due to the stages that they've planned in and then executed. They're going to be able to further explore their markets and start planning longer term for growth and increased profit margins. So this is a really exciting time to be building and polishing your teams and systems in order to be able to get your business working. So it's a profitable commercial enterprise that works without you. And that's the main goal that we have in Action Coach, is to help you build your business so that if you need to step out or you want to step out at any point, the business is still going to work without you. So in a moment, I'm going to hand you over to Rupert and we're going to look at planning. And just before you do that, what I'd like you to do is to just type in the chat box 3 action points, okay? 3 things that, based on what I've just been discussing, that you're going to be taking action on based on this path of opportunities that we've just been discussing.
Oh, good start, Sarah. Yep. We were just reviewing ours the other day as well, so it's a bit of a round robin, isn't it? Everything changes and you have to go back and look at everything again.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we've got marketing plans reviewed. Excellent. Communication. So come on, I want to see some commitment from everybody that's on this call. Let's get you committing to stuff. Yeah, Simon's on it. Thank you, Sarah. And Andrew's got his route to market more focused. Online training, marketing and follow-ups from Sue. Brilliant. Joanne staying connected with customers. Okay, I think we're still going to get some coming in, Rupert, but do you want to get cracking?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. So thank you, Kerry. Thank you, Angela. A couple of things just before I start. If you can all go to the top of the chat box, there is an Excel workbook up there. You could start downloading that now, so that as we get into the main planning part, that's the document that you'll need to open up on your PCs. And it's basically the document that we're going to work through this afternoon as we go through the presentation. The other thing to mention is that luckily we're a relatively small group today. So feel free if you want to. Well, actually, I'd like you to join in and let's get a conversation going here